Welcome back to Jimmy. No. Diamond League Disasters. A Metal League match somewhere in that mediocre medium, in between the top and the best of the best and the best of the rest of Bronze League heroes, where planning and preparation meet the preponderance of proxy Raxes, where no plan survives contact with the enemy and no enemy survives contact with other human beings. Yes, something to describe that uncomfortableness that is knowing how to play and still so much so being unable to do it. Well, let me introduce your first Diamond League disaster. And yes, this was submitted to Bronze League Heroes. But I'm here to show what some could argue are good games for the fans. Put your likes and subscribes together if one of these two things describes you. And both for both. A man who thought about what he usually does when he plays StarCraft, or woman, or Golden Retriever, or somewhere in between. I'm going to give you the blue Terran. The Diamond League Terran. It is none other than Beer Drinker. On the other side, another French Terran. No, not Clem, not Marine Lord. It is Napoleon. We're going to call him Napoleon for short. In the red. Both starting off with a Reaper. A factory being added on. We already have a split in the builds. Terran versus Terran, I know. Your average Bronze League match. And a very technical top-tier matchup, but there's a wide variety of early game strategies to choose from. A lot of Terran players kind of feel like they can choose bio or mech. Like it's two entirely viable strategies. And yes, I'm setting the scene a little bit, because I did get spoiled by the subject line of this game. And usually, when I hear mech, that means something. A passive, defensive game where you hide behind your shell and never come out. Well, let's put it this way. I think the shell's going to get cracked a bit. I'm not exactly sure what that looks like. And I'm not that excited to find out, but I would love to be happily surprised. There's a reason we don't look at these metal games so often unless I'm literally getting paid. An angry coach. It's just because so many of those mistakes in the first few minutes of the game are avoidable and so clear upon reflection and the first time watching a replay. But so far, so standard. As things go, we have Reaper Hellion on either side. Jimmy, we use the in-game music one time, and you have to blast it through my eardrums. Don't waste your opportunity. You got one chance. You got one shot. I apologize. 1-1-1 Destiny Cloudfist build from Beer Drinker. One base as well. Hiding at the top of the ramp. Well, not really hiding, but trying to bait in Napoleon. Lining up that Reaper Hellion, trying to get a concave on anything coming forward. Beer Drinker is adding on the expansion. So, relatively passive first few minutes. The tension mounts. TVT is very much about that tension. As even losing one or two of these early game units. Wow. Beer Drinker with a surprisingly micro-intensive. I mean, Reaper Hellion is one of those alcohol-enabled compositions. These are both units that the more alcohol you drink, the more you think you can micro them, while simultaneously lowering your ability to. So not a surprising choice here from Beer Drinker. Meanwhile, though, Liberator heading towards the main. Napoleon heading out with his Reaper Hellion, thinking he's safe back at home, with a siege tank on the way. Meanwhile, though, coming in towards the natural, roasting the Marines. The siege tank comes up, but that's not going to save the day. Liberator knocked down by the Viking. Meanwhile, the natural being gutted. What's happening? Now, he just gets in the main. You can't just leave the door open. He bypasses the natural. A Cyclone. The Tech Lab factory units are coming out. He's just going to fight the Cyclone straight up. SCV's looking for the repair. Meanwhile, the Hellions actually just managed to leave because the door was still open. How many times? How many mistakes are we going to make? What are you, Diamond Jimmy, at observing? I have to do everything myself around here. Reaper Hellion coming back. He didn't lose, I think. Yeah, he lost none of it. Beer Drinker here finds himself in a relatively good position. He's got okay economy. A couple more SCVs here after the slaughter on the other side of the map. And very importantly, still has all these units alive. Vikings on deck. A couple of Hellions. Vikings getting their reps in for today. Padding their stats a bit. I think Napoleon going to feel quite defensive after that. He actually moved out at what would usually be a pretty safe timing. Beer Drinker, though, did a somewhat random Reaper Hellion with way more Reapers and Hellions than you usually see. Napoleon moved out at the worst possible timing to deal with that. Now, Napoleon not going to sit by. He doesn't like to sit back. Exiled. No! Instead, marches across the map. 5 Reapers will meet him. Beer Drinker. Not willing to risk more than that, and smartly so. Vikings headed towards the main. Well, there are still 2 tanks. Well, here comes the Raven. The Raven doesn't get much done, the tanks. The Vikings hit the deck. Here's a Cyclone. There goes a tank. Cyclone taking a lot of damage. The Vikings can't decide what they want. The Cyclone micros away.
What a save!
Napoleon ends up clearing the field. It wasn't entirely a convincing victory, but it is a victory nonetheless. The single SCV, a mule is dropped to try to repair. Here comes the Cyclone. The Hellion drawing fire. The Cyclone actually goes out of vision range, and that means the mule's going to be able to repair in between this, making things even more awkward. The command center still not building. Hellions, the mule repairing, the Vikings on the high ground. Here comes the tank. The Cyclone locked onto the wrong unit. But, okay, Napoleon still patrolling with his Vikings. They're getting a little dizzy. Beer Drinker, very well experienced with that state of mind. Meanwhile, the Viking, inspired once again to have any sort of control, will hit the deck, and the SCVs will be feeling the brunt of it. Oh my. Getting so many kills. Remember, so many were softened up earlier with the Reaper Heli. And finally, the Viking, is it going to get out? No, wait, the army's coming back. The Viking went the wrong way. The Cyclone will rack up its 8th kill. The MVP here. A mess overall. So who comes out ahead? Napoleon has a few more SCVs. Beer Drinker may have forgotten about his 3rd command center. He built another one at the Natural. I'm sure he had the money. Okay, he's back. He's actually going to have 4 command centers. Napoleon is landing his 3rd on location. He's got a couple SCVs hanging out in the main, cheering on the other SCV that's building a 2nd starport as he gets an armory, Vikings, 1-1, and stim. Beer Drinker, on the other hand, not a big fan of upgrades. He likes things just the way they are. Technically, he's going back. We have Vikings, tanks, Hellions. I'm sounding these out because I'm making sure I don't say anything wrong because I can't fall into those. It's difficult for me as well, these games, because with higher level games, you kind of have an idea of what to expect, right? Like, you know within a certain range what's going to happen next. With Bronze League heroes, you actually kind of have the same thing where you expect the unexpected. But here, we don't know which parts of Byun or Gumiho's or Clem's play that these Diamond Terrans most idolize. There will likely be parts of their gameplay. This is what I find with a lot of players, especially at this level. Especially those who have frequented the Diamond League, is they have some very strong parts of their play, so much so they might be even called Smurfs occasionally. But you go outside that comfort zone, and things get weird. And by weird, I mean painful, frustrating, confusing, unpredictable. I could come up with more adjectives, but I'm not getting paid by the word. I mean, exactly. Kind of. Depends on how you want to look at it. Well, everybody gonna calm down a bit after the scrappy early game. Sensor towers coming up. Supplies growing at a similar rate. 6 turrets! The TPM for Beer Drinker raises. He's got 4 idle SCVs. His opponent putting all those SCVs to work. We got Blue Flame and +1 for Beer Drinker. So we're shaping up for that mech bio split. Almost like a completely new matchup. Because the mech army, there are 2 different philosophies as a non-mech player, which I would argue Napoleon going for air control here. Well, that is one of the philosophies. It's get air control and use that to make sure you can beat their siege tanks. Another is just overwhelming with multitasking and medevacs. Since neither player has built a medevac yet, I'm going to rule that one out. It looks like we're going to fight in the skies. Vikings and Ravens. There are going to be some Marines here for Napoleon. Whereas the only other anti-air is maybe a Cyclone and... yeah, that's it. And turrets for Beer Drinker. Mech doesn't have as much built-in anti-air. One of the main vulnerabilities. A scan. Napoleon. There's no sensor tower here. Beer Drinker. He's zooming in. I was wondering if he was zoomed in. It felt like he was zoomed in. And he zoomed in more. Anyways, here's the army. With his beer goggles on, making sure he knows which unit that is. He's a bit nearsighted, or farsighted, whatever, or beer-sighted. Well, the Hellions microing forward. Interference matrix. The Vikings for Napoleon win. The planetary dies. And once again, I don't know, the Vikings trying to get their reps and pretend like they participate in this battle. So Napoleon kills the planetary, kills a bunch of the units. I think all the bio units just stemmed. No, not quite. Well, there's another stem. He's gonna try. So even though the tanks are unsieged, usually players, once they reach the Gold League, realize that siege tanks can attack when they're not in siege mode. And this is a crazy revelation. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, guys. Did you know that siege tanks not in siege mode actually do more damage to single target? I know it sounds crazy. Bronze League heroes hate this trick. So 2 siege tanks and a whole Denmark of Vikings up here. We got 4 ghosts. Beer Drinker's like, all right, won the fight. Time for some nukes. Which, hold your proverbial horses, I think. Well, Thors are here. Napoleon was really trying to press. The Vikings hit the deck at the natural. This time, real damage being dealt. Beer Drinker under 50 SCVs. A tank gets a surprising double kill on these Vikings. They can't really lift because the turrets will shoot them. They take out the turrets, but here are the Thors. Meanwhile, the rest of the bio army, around and around and around we go. No, Beer Drinker, So, Beer Drinker, down to 42 SCVs. Napoleon's got a nice amount on the other side. +1 attack is all that's done. +2/2 just started for Napoleon. He's been laser focused on this aggression. No combat shield quite yet. No medevacs. The Viking Wars will continue. Thors and Marines adding anti-air. And, well, here we go again. Napoleon will win the Viking War. Beer Drinker looks like... Well, okay, yep. Everyone dies at the end. Spoilers. So it appears nobody wins. Everyone loses. Everyone... You lost, I lost, they both lost. Everyone loses. There are no winners here. Good day. But if you did look at the supplies, Napoleon still has that economy with which to continue production. He was inspired by the mule drop earlier, beer drinker, I think. There's one, like, I guess now the nuclear option is looking better. I think we just, a Thor just blasted apart. What was that? Was it a turret? Well, a Thor just killed something to try to get out of the base. We've all been there. Nukes are one option. That feels like he reached for the Ghost Academies quite quickly. Like another case of Natty Light on the shelf. Instead of, maybe some water, more siege tanks. Slowly edging the tanks forward. Now, trading shots. I think for now. Jimmy. We need real music for this game. This should have been on from the start, you know it. Yeah, my jam. So we're all just gonna sit here for a while, eh? That was a traumatizing set of fights. That was a lot. Now there are 4. Neither player is even close to 200 supply. Not even Napoleon, who's building 4 command centers. Which means, by the way, he had the money for 4 command centers. The Marauder siege tank team's going to be outflanked in this buddy cop movie by a single Liberator, the real villain. Well, Liberator just Liberator cleans it up. Beer drinker hasn't built an SCV in like 12 minutes. And by 12 minutes, I mean like 8, maybe. But since he lost all those SCVs, he has replaced exactly none of them. We got scans on either side. It's almost impossible to tell where. And the orbital count is starting to grow. How many orbitals? Just 3 apiece. I really thought we'd have more than that, but I was thinking again, and that was my critical mistake. Yeah, we did reach the macro pacifism phase as they both try to wrangle their economies and their production back under control. Marine scouts heading out across the board. Napoleon finished 2-2. He's got +1 ship weapons and +1 ship plating. He has 0 medevacs for his bio army, but he does have 16 Vikings. Beer Drinker has 4 nuclear missiles and 4 ghosts with which to launch them. So, of course, the ghosts are in the main, so they can't launch them very far right now. We'll see if he remembers those. Napoleon's ready to go, and he's maxed out. Why not? Diligently not using the Selecto Army hotkey, but unfortunately also leaving about 30 supply of units behind. So, upsides and downsides. The sensor towers are really starting to grow across the map. Now, where does Napoleon decide to attack? Well, the scan, he spots the ghost. The ghost, really their only purpose. I guess technically they could snipe Marines and Marauders, but is that a fusion? I actually don't know what. I mean, he's been building nukes, all right? Nukes and battle cruisers. He's surprised he even got to the Diamond League. These ghosts on a mission. They holstered their weapons as well. He knows how to hold fire. This is not his first nuclear rodeo. 1 nuke launched. Probably nowhere that is expected. A scan Napoleon says, you know what? It's a nuclear base trade. Another one, and another one. The Quadra nuke, hitting all the bases. Over to the right side, Napoleon gonna take out a base. And another nuke lands. The economy, obliterate. No, this was a little off target. Beer drinker. All right, that was about as much focus as he was gonna maintain. All right, give him some credit. He pulled off something close to a quadra nuke. Now, does that matter? Napoleon has lost a whole lot of SCVs. Vikings on deck, beer drinker. Making his move. He's only got 100 APM. I mean, I can appreciate that. Against 160 of his opponent, but Napoleon. More nukes on the way. Neither player has deemed it necessary to rebuild any of those SCVs. Oh, the Ghost comes in and snipes one of the SCVs building a command center. Beer Drinker kind of ran out of energy behind enemy lines. Yeah, they really aren't rebuilding SCVs. How many workers have been lost? 43 to 43, evenly matched, and 43 left for Beer Drinker. There's a battle cruiser, a Viking, and a Thor in production, and we aren't even trying to make new box art. There are more nukes. Are the nukes finished? He's got 3 more. This is within vision range. Napoleon's halfway across the map. He's going to set up the nuke again. Launches 1. This is where many of the... I mean, he's with... I guess he technically doesn't see him. There are scans. Gonna go forward. Napoleon has 1 response, and it's forward. There's a fusion core on the way for Napoleon. Down goes the nuke. And with it, all the SCVs. More tanks are sieging up. Probably regretting the lack of medevacs at this stage. The scan. The Venn dia scan. Well, the overlapping scans. The Ghost is not cloaked. The Ghost has no cloak. He's gonna nuke anyways. I have no cloak, but I must nuke. Stop saying that like it's profound, Ghost. Another nuke. But, I mean, these nukes are... They'll kill some things. At some point, you're killing less than the cost of the nuke. This one will damage a planetary. Napoleon. Down to 19 SCVs. Struggling with the idea of clearing out the ghosts that are just kind of sitting. I kind of zoned out for a second. I'm thinking Napoleon did as well. Vikings. There's just not enough tanks here, though, to really hold this position. His army's mostly Vikings. It looks like he does want to try to land on the tanks. Are there still any nukes? There are no more nukes. There's another bio army. That's... Well, they only have +2, +1 against 3-3 on the ground. So the upgrades are way better here for Napoleon. Another army. He's patrolling. 2 more tanks. The Thors are going to add a whole lot of splash damage into this. But then the Thors are going to move forward. Here comes... The supplies still surprisingly even. Just bashing forward. Now would be a good time for those Vikings to hit the deck. I think Napoleon... Well, he hits the deck now. The Vikings... helping out a lot. The tanks are right-clicked on the planetary. And once again, a battle without a clear victor. Napoleon eventually clears that up. But at what cost? Right now, they've both lost nearly equal amount. What is this style, says Beer Drinker. Beer Drinker, the ghost tank. Mech into bio, into mech, into bio. Oh, And of course, Beer Drinker has decided, like many people who enjoy beer maybe a little too much, to start talking in the middle of a intense exchange and make things even more uncomfortable instead of just minding his own damn business. And his damn business right now is being shelled by multiple siege tanks. So the worker counts. Napoleon has now remembered that he can build workers. There's a ghost with 28 kills, cosplaying a supply depot. The supplies are dead even, 24 minutes in. How evenly matched despite their differing styles. The Bio-Curious of Napoleon and the beer goggles, the nuclear beer goggles of Beer Drinker. That planetary being repaired, I mean, that does cost money, only a quarter as much as to build it. Here come some battle cruisers. Are the battle cruisers truly what turns the tide here? Alright, I guess it is Bronze League Heroes after all. I guess you did submit to the right one. I actually don't remember which player submitted this. I can take a guess, but I still don't know. The beauty of it, I still don't know how this ends. Like, those battle cruisers are dangerous, but it's only 2 battle cruisers, and they have no upgrades at all. They're up against, they have +1 mech armor. They have no ship weapons upgrades. It's +3, +2 Vikings. And Vikings technically can just take out the battle, because they can outrange them. Yamato can maybe turn the tides a little, but we're okay. Okay, we're back to the dramatic music, Jimmy. I don't know what I want anymore, and neither do these players. That's not dramatic music. Try again. It doesn't work like that. All right. What a mess this game is. The Ghost is coming back. 9 SCVs at a time for Napoleon. Oh, no. Come on, bro. No. Not like this. Are you shitting me? Oh, well, I think I know who submitted this one. Are you kidding me? Down it goes! A disaster! Of course. Napoleon has yet to kill a single one of these guys. He taps out! With 1,500. With so many upgrades I can't even count them advantage. With enough money in the bank and a good enough army to hold the line, Napoleon, emotionally, mentally, physically beaten. Beer Drinker and his drunken brawler mech launch a nuclear strike against Napoleon's psyche. Wow. That had me on the edge of my couch cushion with both the intensity, the drama, and the confusion. I truly, well, I hope you enjoyed this foray. It's been a little while since I cast a game like this, so give me your true feedback on it. Games like this are rare, but that, I'm gonna guess Beer Drinker sent it in. But place your bets. And I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun, and I hope you enjoyed Diamond League Disasters. Thank you for watching. Stay chill.